So I am back. This is part 3 of Honor Your Intuition. And I am Shani Melody. I am going to begin where, so I moved to this apartment. Mind you, I wasn't supposed to be here no more than maybe a year. I was just trying to stay here until I gained custody of my sons. However, the betrayal continued, and even after moving here, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm tired. I start fondling with my hair and playing with my ears and stuff like that when I'm really sleepy. So please forgive me. Yeah. And so I had just, okay, so after moving here, a little after moving here, I told my landlord, I want to say about a year in after moving here, actually. Yeah, about a year. Maybe 2. Because I think I renewed the lease twice before I actually opened up to her about what was going on. Now, I had already made a police report regarding the betrayal that took place and the characters within it. So certain people were not supposed to come near me without my permission, and so forth and so on. It took me a lot to even get them to write that report. And I don't even know how serious the reports are, the police reports truly are. Because I figure, you just give me a number and you don't really take down the information that I'm giving you. So I'm just talking is what I feel when I'm talking to people. Talking to the police and letting them know, everything that took place. It feels like I'm just talking for my health at times. And maybe I'm wrong about that. But throughout the story, you'll hear where the police completely did not want to give me a report for plenty of the things that I reported. Yeah. So anyways, this is what I mean by that seamless movement throughout the world when you are a part of certain groups, societies, etc. Right? So either way, I told my landlord. I finally opened up and I told her how dangerous my children's father was in my life and how I do not feel safe, right? At some point, my children's father had said it under his breath. I don't know if I did that already in my videos. I didn't watch all my videos back. I just kind of picked up from where I remember, or I'm ready to. I wanna pick up from where I remember leaving off. I'm just kind of picking up now where the current attacks. That's what we're talking about, right? Before we can go backwards and talk about history and all this extra, we're talking about what's going on now, right? If it were past tense, I would not be speaking about it. I would just call myself a survivor and keep moving, but this is not what that is. Okay, these are constant attacks. These are constant, basically they're trying to leave me in a position, it almost feels like they're trying to leave me in a position where I am comatose, if that makes sense. So sick, so drowsy, so, I wake up with chills, in heat. That's how bad it is. I wake up with stomach pains, body pain. You can actually feel, like I said, I'm on the first floor, so everything can be felt. And yes, I'm going to sound schizophrenic. I'm going to sound crazy. But I know I'm not, right? I know I'm not. I know I'm only telling the story as it is. I know that I am, yeah. I can touch my nose and stand in a straight line. I guess, I don't know. Isn't it a drunk test or something I don't know. Anyways. I just know I'm functioning, to have gone through all the attacks that I have. I think I'm pretty functional, right? I think I'm doing well. So, yeah, but these people would definitely try to make you seem like you're some mental case, that you are some type of, like you need a straitjacket, if you will. And you have to, I just feel like the truth has to be told, one way or another. And when, like I said, you're dealing with those who are in higher places and high authority, it puts you in that position, right? That Christ-like position where you know that these people at any time can, decree, write a word, agree to something, and you could be taken down innocently, right? And that's the sad part. This is why I didn't want to tell my story any longer. This is why I shut up at one point, okay? I'll give more detail on that. This has been really heavy on me. I did not want to tell my truth in such a way because I don't feel safe. There is no safety. There is no one to run to. There is no one to, there's just, there's no blanket, no soft landing that I know of. And so I know that I'm putting my life on the line. Telling my truth is putting my life on the line. And there's a lot of truth tellers who lost their life, who were sentenced to prison and jail and, for things that they didn't do. And so it puts me in a position, I don't know what I'm doing to my hair, y'all. I'm tired. It puts me in a position where I know that there are some wicked folk out here who will get away with things that they shouldn't. I said current attack. Man, I just had another recent attack. Yes, and by the government, at that, okay? But let me go backwards a little bit. So, either way, I told my landlord, I'm opening up to her and I'm letting her know, hey, if this man comes around, this is his name, this is da-da-da-da. I have a report on him, you know what I mean? I feel unsafe, right? She nodded her head, she listened. This is the same landlord that would always talk to me for hours and hours and hours at a time. Whenever she was supposed to fix something, they would take like months at a time to fix it, and then come, and then she wants to tell me all the things as to why she didn't fix it on time, and and how her husband this and her family that and her children this and her children that. And I would sit there and I'll actually just listen, right? Because I figured everybody needs an ear at times, right? And they'll use your kindness against you. No, they won't use your kindness against you. You just have to be a kind-hearted person. It sounds good. It sounds good. Shani has had to learn the hard way. Okay? So the same landlord, right? You would think we were friends by the way she talked to me for hours at a time when she was supposed to fix something months ago, okay? And when I say months, I'm not talking about 2 months. I'm not talking about 3. I'm talking about 8. I'm talking about 8 months ago, okay? 8 to 10 months ago, she was supposed to fix something. Or have her husband do it, or somebody, right? But this is how you're treated when you are a target. When you are naturally a target. Your own family has targeted you. Your own people, your own, they've gathered your old acquaintances against you, your exes against you, right? That's what happens. So please do not think that you're losing your mind or that you're going crazy. Maybe it's not safe to speak on it. I haven't seen too many survive after speaking on the truth. So yeah, I do know that I'm putting myself on the front line. And it's sad. It's so sad because there isn't any justice for people like us, is what it seems. Okay, hopefully there will be. But yeah, I'll speak on it as I can. So yeah, I spoke to the landlord. She now has the details, right? She knows who I fear, pretty much, right? So we're gonna go fast forward. Now here's a landlord that's completely a slum landlord to me. She does not care about fixing things on time. Things are falling apart in my home. Everything that needed to get fixed got fixed with wood and some nails. Don't ask me, right? Toilet needed to get fixed. Got fixed, I think, with a wax ring. The toilet clearly needed to be replaced, right? Toilet completely coming off of its, she just waxed it, put a wax ring on it, and I mean, her and her husband, because it's a couple. Yeah, they just put a wax ring on it, and what was the other thing that they did? Caulked it. This is a toilet that was leaking some nasty liquids, okay? Yeah. So that's how things got fixed around here. There's more to it, right? So either way, I'm being mistreated. I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be merciful. Somewhere in the story, I find blood. There's blood all on my carpet. Now, when I first moved in, see, that's why I got to keep going back and go back and go back. Oh, I missed a detail. I got to go back. That's why, right? So this is the same landlord. When I first moved in, she said, before I moved in, she said she was going to professionally clean the carpets or have them clean. I moved in, guess what was on my carpet? Blood. Dried up blood. I'm like, that's interesting. Right? And I had heard stories that, like, people were looking at me oddly, like, man, you moving into that place? And I'm like, yeah. You know, I know it look a little beat up, but inside, you know, it's not too bad. It was a place to live. You know what I mean? It got me out of my situation. And so I was like, you know, why not? It's better than living on the streets. I wasn't supposed to be here this long once again. It's literally been about 10 years. I did not plan to be here that long. But either way, come to find out, someone was murdered on this property, right? Oh, shucks. Damn, I couldn't say that. I'm sorry. Someone was murdered with an M on this property. And in the back of our home, I find bloody furniture. I'm like, that's interesting, right? Because for a while, I just did not go outside around the back of my home because it just didn't feel welcoming, right? The whole outside of my home looked real raggedy, really, really raggedy. When I looked at this place, I looked at it with someone. I'll explain that story once again as time goes on, because there's a pattern here. There's a pattern. I have to keep going back, you know, oh, okay, well, you know, to add that piece to it and add that piece to it. And then, you know, this main character was in this part of it. When it's going from memory, that's how I remember things. So from the current point all the way back, as far as I can, to be able to make it more relevant. So excuse me as I'm telling my story. I may not be, you know, the best storyteller, but this is really the truth. This is, you know, me telling my truth rather than just a story. So anyways, this is the same landlord. I'm saying same because the landlords do switch hands at some point, right? I have a whole new landlord now. I know you're like, how does that happen, right? Right. Same question I had. So here's how it happened. The same children's father that I spoke, the same. Okay, so I spoke to her about my children's father, mind you, right? How about my children's father decided to hit me up on Facebook under a WhatsApp account. He came under Chris Griffin, I think. I can't keep giving names. I'm sorry. Chris something, right? Chris G, right? We'll call him, yeah. You know, I'm not one that really welcomes a lot of people onto my social media accounts because of this. So I think I mentioned before I was being gang stalked. I was also being, I think I said I was being gang stalked online too. If not, I was also being bullied online as well. Okay. So these are those faces behind the scenes. They're able to make fake accounts. So somehow you have some type of access, right, to some special things. So yeah, they're making fake accounts. Me, I'm an energy reader though, right? I don't need cards to read much. I really just read energy. Now, not all the time do I, right? Like when it comes to me being in my household and my comfort space, I really don't use my intuition like I should. So like there's, you know, people that are intuitive, I'm sure you understand sometimes. It's not that we could turn it off, it's just sometimes we just don't always want to be in that working space, where we are always having to discern, always having to, but sometimes we need to. In my situation, I wish I would have turned it on at all times because this is where I am, where I was in my, comfort zone at one point. I was trying to trust people at one point. And so even though I was a little eerie about, meeting people online, they friend requested me, right? He friend requested me coming as someone else. I felt the energy. I kept saying it's either this person, that person, or this person, right? But I wanted to see. Sometimes I do test myself, I guess you'd say. I do. And, I'm like, well, let me just see what happens. You know what I mean? Let me just kind of see, who's on the other side. Sometimes I'll do that. I don't know why. It's the me that loves a challenge or something. I don't know. Willing to touch the hot fire when I know it's hot. I don't know. Anyways, I said, I accepted the request. And they went into the whole thing of, acting like they wanted to meet me and please get a WhatsApp account or please get this account and so we can connect better and all of that. Like I have been, what am I trying to say? I had been approached in such a way and so many times, right, online. So like I said, I'm very eerie when it comes to online connection because of that. It's not genuine to me. And I knew this was a game somehow, some way. I just wanted to see what kind of game it was, I guess you'd say. I just wanted to see, which angle were we going and who could I not trust even more than I probably couldn't already trust them. So I already figured my children's father was somewhere behind it. But he was. He was not just somewhere behind it. He was in it. That was him. So, yeah. Be careful, right? Be careful. The ones that I had just warned the landlord, hey, I feel like I'm in danger. Boom, boom, bam, bam, bam. Let me tell you what happens, okay? Let me tell you what happened. I'm sorry. So I am okay, so I'm approached online. Somehow I upset this guy. We know who the guy is now. Somehow I upset him by, not letting him see what he wanted to see, and have a, I forgot what he asked me, but it was something to do with some revealing of something. And I said, absolutely not. And so he started cursing me out. When I say thoroughly, I said, no, this is him. Like, I know when this man would thoroughly curse me out for no reason, okay? I knew I wasn't tripping. Lo and behold, right? I go and I made a phone call. No. Landlord made a phone call to me. This is what I mean by so many HIPAA laws have been broken. It's so many people that should have been sued. It's so many people that belong under the prison, right? Within this, story possibly. So, but allegedly. So I Yeah, so she reaches out to me. Mind you, you're my landlord. Why would somebody else be on a phone call? Come to find out, it was a three-way call. This chick had me on a three-way call. I'm sharing all of my personal financial information with you. I am sharing I'm sharing my phone number. Okay? Didn't I tell you I felt that this man was dangerous to me? Why? So you know what? I hang up my phone and it shows on the caller ID that I was on a phone call with landlord and the same name of this WhatsApp. Okay? I shared all of those details online when I posted my videos about 4 years ago. So all of that stuff is definitely easily found. I'm not lying. I gave it all that I could. I provided all the information that I could. Still no justice, right? People like us don't get justice. That's what it's seeming like. Yeah, so I went and I screenshotted it, and I'm like, wow. So I wasn't tripping. So that was really him, right? Same name, everything. And so I approached the landlord and I said, dear, remember I had spoken to you about my children's father? And she's like, yes, I remember. And I'm like, is there some reason why you called me with him on the line? You know, because it's a little question right there. Like, is there some reason why you would even call me on a three-way call without my consent in the first place? Like the typical person that's been caught, right? She says, oh, I have a realtor business. So people just call me, and sometimes they call me through WhatsApp. Sometimes they call, oh, they do. And it just so happened to be my children's father. That's interesting. I find that to be very interesting, right? Now, how do I know it was my children's father? Because it showed up under actual name. Okay? His actual name showed up. So I'm like, oh my gosh. This man doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop. There's no end to his attacks. There's no end to the trauma that I faced being in his presence, right? So I'm trying to look at it as, okay, it's a small thing. It's just between my children's father and me. He's, still having some type of vengeance, but something just wasn't settling with me. I'm like, no, these are joined hands. This betrayal was able to happen because someone joined with somebody and somebody joined with somebody, right? And so it all started clicking. I do remember my so-called sister saying they were networking, or she was networking. I do remember him saying certain things, and I do remember all of it clicked. It just started clicking. Click, 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 click. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, well, anyways, is there some reason, like I'm still approaching landlord, hey, you don't think that was wrong for you to, give me a call on a three-way like you? So I'm heated. I'm thinking that the police going to do something about this. I'm thinking that I'm going to get the justice that I deserve, because it's clearly a broken, what is it? Basically you breached my personal information, no matter which way you throw it, okay? And what could y'all have been talking about for you to reach out to me on a three-way call knowing that I'm going to share my personal information with you? What was the plan, right? So, yeah. She denies it, basically leaving it at, anybody can call me. That's just, I'm a realtor and that's just what it is. And okay. All right, so I'm thinking, you know what? Let me get up off of it, right? She might be right. She might be right. Now, here it is. I know my intuition going off. Ding, 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 ding. You got a case, right? Should have sued her. But I'm thinking of the fact that I don't have a way to just pick up and move, right? I don't have a way to just get up and go, right? I have children, very small children at the time. And I just got betrayed, so everything in my past is pretty much null and void, right? Pretty much. So either way, I don't want to miss any details, so we're going to fast forward. Okay, so all of a sudden, she starts to contact different. Oh, she decides to sell the apartment. There we go. The apartment building, that is. This is a duplex, but I think there's a third apartment. They say it is. It sounds like it's just 2 apartments. And the upstairs apartment and the second apartment are together somehow. They literally, I can hear him walking all the way to the other side of the other apartments. I know I'm not tripping. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, this was a duplex. However that happens, however it's been built, however it's been connected, whatever. Okay. I have more information on that too. But like I said, I know I'm putting myself on the front lines, even telling this truth alone. There has been no justice. No one cares, seems like, to even try to give me justice. There were actual people with actual badges, actual, what's it called? That were online, on Facebook at the time. And I'm sitting here telling my story. Why is no one doing anything? So when I say positions of power, we're talking about possibly, I could be wrong, allegedly, the ABCs of the legal departments, okay? I think they call them, well, yeah, I heard somebody call them the ABC boys. You know what I mean? Or the alphabet boys. You know what I mean? Anyways. Yeah. So you mean to tell me you're hearing my story and you're choosing not to do anything about it? I'm like, maybe I'm not telling it right. Maybe I'm not telling enough. What am I doing wrong? Right? Being me, breathing, I guess, that's it, right? When you're a target, just you breathing alone is a problem. Because there's big plans for the end of your life. There's, why are you still here kind of thing, And it's sad to know that that's how you can feed so much positivity into someone else and encourage them to keep living and keep going on in their life. For every time that landlord would talk to me, I would encourage her, just to think, you're in on someone unaliving me, though. You're in on that. But I'm encouraging you to keep going. I'm encouraging you to stick with your husband while you sitting there blaming him and talking about they will use your heart against you. Okay? This is a thing. All right? So, moving on. Actually, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark, and I'm getting sleepy, to a point where I think I'm starting to close my eyes a little bit. So, it's good. What'd I do? What was that? Y'all? I'm sorry. Anyways. Yeah, that's that 30-minute mark. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down and get back to y'all. Hopefully very soon.